For CapitalWeatherGang.com. Thanks so much for joining me for our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. We'll touch on the work week weather ahead and what you can expect further ahead into next work week as well, what else we've got for you on CapitalWeatherGang.com, and rain chances that we're looking at during this week, which should stay overall pretty mild and probably above average on balance for most, if not every day this week. So a little bit wet, but we're going to talk about staying warm and mild and look at these warm colors on the temperature animation below. It's going to be at least until the end of the week. 50s, 60s are generally dominating. Hello, Charlene. Thanks so much for joining on Facebook. Jamie and HS and Soundton and Chris on Instagram. I'm on X, YouTube as well. So any of our 4 social media channels, please don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions or comments on the work week weather ahead and any other graphics that we go into tonight as well. David and Peter, good evening. Good to see you as well. Happy Sunday. Hey, HS Squared on Instagram. Really good seeing you. All right, so wind tomorrow is another factor that should behave itself overall. But I think afternoon breezes, there could be a couple breezes near 20 miles per hour. But overall, as I listed at the top there, my PM update, generally pretty tranquil for the short term before our rain chances rise starting Monday night as well. All right, let's look at clouds and precipitation this week. That's kind of the main thing. Not seeing too many signs of sunshine this week. So please, I hope today you got out and saw some rays of sunshine. Tomorrow you can do the same as well, even if it is limited at times. It is going to be a pretty darn cloudy week. Precipitation chances at least 2, 3, maybe 4 chances of precipitation through next weekend. It could amount to a decent amount of rain as well, which we'll talk about in a second. But the Monday night system pulls out fairly quickly. We kind of get half days of rain, half days of dry conditions. Generally, though, staying mild and mostly cloudy this week. And here's the 7-day rain amounts. Could be 2 to 3 inches when all is said and done by the time you talk to me next Sunday for our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. I'm on Capital Weather Gang. All of us on the team, we're at CapitalWeatherGang.com 24/7 anytime you need us. I'm Camden Walker. Appreciate seeing you on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook. Seeing you on Instagram, no power outages or down trees expected as it stands now. Luckily, we don't have leaves on the trees just yet, which would act more like wind sails catching any gusts of wind. But so far, no major chance for severe weather or wind issues just yet, but we'll watch that for you at CapitalWeatherGang.com this week. Carol, thanks for tuning in. Hello, and good evening, Diana in Pennsylvania. I'm glad you enjoyed the beautiful day today. Going forward, next work week, we're looking at temperatures and precipitation. Both generally lean a little bit above average, but I would say the stronger signals for above average temperatures here in the top frame, and below maybe a slight lean toward above average precipitation for next work week as well. And as you probably have seen in our March outlook, we do kind of lean warmer and wetter for overall for the month of March. But of course, it's nuanced, and for a monthly forecast, we want you to see all the details that we were thinking in our March update at CapitalWeatherGang.com. Pollen, for my fellow allergy sufferers, it is still around, not as bad as last weekend, but it's staying pretty warm this week and tomorrow without rain chances other than maybe a stray shower. Medium levels of pollen could surge just a little bit more tomorrow, even if we do see some peaks of sunshine. Warm enough conditions that I think we could have some allergy issues kind of pop up a little notch higher tomorrow as well. We'll see what the pollen count is tomorrow. Maybe we'll get into the high category again for trees. Right now, though, moderate in the last few days, and we've kind of enjoyed some clouds and cooler weather recently, helping allergy sufferers. But speaking of the growing season, please, gardeners, don't yet count on frosts and freezes being completely behind us. Make sure you're planting in movable pots that you, for instance, could bring inside if we have a frost or freeze advisory. We're nowhere near declaring, winter time temperatures for at least overnight conditions being completely over. But we also, just a kind of curiosity, a trivia matter for you, looking at the average season to date snowfall, 12.2 inches, the average for the total season, 13.7. So on average, we could still maybe see an inch and a half of more snow on average before the end of the month this month. Of course, with each week, it gets more, dwindling chances as we go further into March, but it's not unheard of. All right, HL, maybe you live along the I-81 corridor, not until after Mother's Day, indeed, is a good call. And hi, Ruth Elisa. And Mary, you saw your first tree blooming yesterday, purple pink blooms. I love that. Maybe no, I'm not going to guess. I'm not always good at guessing tree types. Hi, Julia. You have a great week as well. Thanks for tuning in from YouTube. And David, let's talk about those cherry blossoms. We have coverage for you at capitalweathergang.com that the National Weather Service is looking, and we generally agree with March 23rd to 26th as it stands now. So we'll keep you posted throughout the 6 stages of those buds, of the cherry blossom buds through the peak bloom, which I think is indeed the 6th stage of the cherry tree around the tidal basin. So other content, we've got the March outlook there, leaning warmer and wetter for the month of March. And other content, we've had a lot of content for you this weekend, from the Kelvin Helmholtz waves, the KH waves in Maryland. We're covering the wildfire, the huge one in Texas, the blizzard in the Sierra Nevada. So we're covering a lot for you. So please, anytime you need us, 24/7, we're at capitalweathergang.com. I'm Camden Walker. Thanks for joining for our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. We're talking about everything from the work week ahead, what the weather looks like next work week, maybe the outlook for that, the March outlook as we're talking about above, and some nationwide weather coverage as well. Let's show you your forecast at a glance closer to the DMV area. And let me first start you with the temperature animation. Generally warm color shadings here indicating 50s and 60s dominating our temperatures this week. Generally, it could be above average most, if not every day this week, even with the clouds and rain chances. All right, Andrea, Joy, and Sori and ASNY, thanks for joining on Instagram. And Katter and Joy, good seeing you as well. And I think I've caught up on all your questions and comments on, seeing you. The air quality looks green so far in the region. But also double check me at cleanairpartners.org, I believe. They're good, and airnow.gov is another way to double check air quality every day. That's a great question from Instagram. Thanks, CNU. All right, and I've got over here YouTube and Facebook and X. Next Sunday, Julia, this is a great question, and it's a cool trivia fact about March sunset time. So today was a 6:03 p.m. sunset on March 3rd. We add 7 days, so March 10th is next Sunday. You'll see me at 6:10 for sunset next week. So it's an interesting thing about March, that looking at the calendar, what day is it? The 3rd, it's going to set at 6:03. The 10th for next Sunday, the sunset will be at 6:10, and on and on. So it corresponds to the calendar day, the minutes at the 6 o'clock hour, where we'll see sunset for this month only, I think, in the entire year. Mary, I think we do have enough moisture in the air. It's making us feel a little chilled. Water vapor can conduct it's a good conduit for heat. It can keep heat near us for a heat index value in the summer when it's feeling like oppressive. And then when it's leaning a little cooler, if there's a decent amount of water vapor still in the air, it can actually wick heat away from our bodies as well. Ruth Elisa, oh gosh, are we springing ahead next week? I haven't even looked at the time change. I'm probably in denial. So we might have to we'll add an hour onto that. And you'll probably see me, if the time change is happening next Saturday night, which it very well could be, you'll see me at 7:10 next Sunday. Yep, there it is. So an hour later, though, oh gosh, we're jumping ahead. So I'll see you at 7:10. Still, 10th of the month. It will be a minute number 10 on the 7 o'clock hour. Tamika, I don't think we're completely done with snow this year. Just hang tight. We'll review that again in just a second. And have I caught up? Nick, you're most welcome for the updates. Rick, I don't see a high chance for thunderstorms this week. I did check on that for you. And I hope you have a great week as well, Julia. And let's see, we've got covered that. Carol, hello, good evening to you. And Mary, I think those pictures in the trees were cherry blossoms, the ones on the tidal basin. And Mary, your prediction is for cherry blossom around Palm Sunday. You're getting good at that. And I think it's in the DC tidal basin, Ruth Elisa. Good question. And let's see, we've got Diana doesn't want me to go ahead next Sunday to follow daylight savings time. That's great. And yep, you'll see me at 7:10. David, thank you very much. I'll see all of you for 7:10 next week when we have our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat after the spring ahead for next Saturday night. Happy Suze, KW, and Sarah. Thanks for joining on Instagram. Lee, John, so many of you. It's really good seeing you. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'm trying to stay, I think, caught up on everything on Instagram, YouTube, and X, and Facebook. Carol, we have rain chances most days, but don't think every day will be a complete washout. Generally speaking, and you can start seeing that in our recent forecast, we're expecting kind of half day dry, half day wet, and a lot of this rain might fall overnight this week. And Ben, I think maybe barely we should stay under dew point 50 degree mark for this week. Hello, Maria. Thanks for tuning in on Facebook. Happy birthday to your sister, Ruth Elisa. And try and have that lunch earlier if you can. But overall, I think tomorrow should stay dry, especially points north of Richmond. The storm system is generally moving in from the southeast up the coast late tomorrow. So we should be good. Maybe just a stray shower tomorrow, but overall dry. Kind of our last dry day of this work week in an entirety of a work day. SF, Penn, and Lever, and Katie, thanks so much for joining on Instagram. All right, let's jump to wind conditions for tomorrow. Generally tame, but I do think a couple afternoon gusts near 20 miles per hour are possible. But overall, it's not too bad of a day tomorrow, considering just a chance of a stray shower and a little bit of sun. Our final day with, off and on sunshine tomorrow. It is looking like a cloudy week. Let me show you that, how the clouds dominate in the blue colorings this week. We see very little sunshine, so please, any time you see rays of sunshine through the clouds tomorrow, I would get outside and just stand there and enjoy it. Maybe mid-morning to midday is the best chance for kind of brighter sunshine overall. Hello, I'm good to see you. Happy, I miss you. Thanks for tuning in on Instagram. I hope all is well. Are you still in Charlotte? I hope your move went well, and I'm glad you'll be back in the DC area next year. Good to see you. Thanks for checking in, Heroin Chic. And all right, we've got Jay and Bro and IMCH. Hey, Jonathan. Thanks for tuning in from X. And Manuel will cover snow in just a second. And water table, indeed fine near Martinsburg, Kenny. I'm glad to hear that. And Ruth Lisa, that's great. You will have a really good birthday lunch tomorrow as well. That's fantastic. All right. Let's go into how much the precipitation might end up adding into with all our 3 to 4 precipitation chances this week. 2 to 3 inches of rain is possible by the time you talk to me around 7:10 p.m. for our next week's weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. So the next 7 days, 2 to 3 inches of rain is not out of the question. We'll see if these storms hold their track that we currently expect. Some of the storm tracks near the end of the week and the weekend are uncertain. So we're not sure if we'll see all that much rain of a total of 2 to 3 inches, but it is possible. And I want you to know that precipitation next week, less of a signal for wetter than average at least. And temperatures have a decent signal for above average temperatures for next work week. So again, as it looks like with our March outlook, and we said we leaned wetter and drier for March, indeed that might hold true into next work week as well. Allergy sufferers, moderate pollen, maybe a quick burst into high levels tomorrow, possible with our warm air and lack of rain for one more day this work week. But rain chances overall should help wash out the pollen in the atmosphere for this upcoming work week overall. And it is growing season, but I encourage last freezes are here above. We have not reached last frost or freezes yet for the season. So gardeners, if you are planting outside, make sure it's like movable pots that you can bring inside for times when we have likely frost or freeze advisories into March, if not April as well. Now, all of you asking about snow, I just want to point out, you'll look at the average season to date snow and the average seasonal snow overall, and you go, the math shows we might have 1.5 inches left on average in the seasonal snowfall potential. So I don't want snow lovers, a couple of you have chimed in tonight, I don't want you to completely write off snow chances until the end of March, perhaps, for accumulating snow. Nothing in the near term looks likely. Our SPI, or snow potential index, is 0. But I wanted to give you just a glimmer of hope. If you're looking for more snow, we could get sneaky, very quick few hours of cold air and precipitation into the region in March. And all of you who've lived in the area for a few years, even in recent warmer climate times, we've seen snowflakes, maybe not accumulating, but we do see snowflakes in Grapple into April, and maybe a couple times in the last few years, maybe early May as well, especially in the I-81 corridor and points west. So snow lovers, don't completely give up, but just have those managed expectations. Other content that we have at capitalweathergang.com, where you can find us 24/7. We've got our March outlook, which leans warmer and wetter for the entire month. We are covering those cool KH clouds in Maryland today, the blizzard in the Sierra Nevada, and the large wildfire in Texas. And of course, at the bottom there, the all-important tidal basin prediction for the cherry blossoms, March 23rd to 26th, currently a decent guess from the National Weather Service based on trends that we're looking at for the month of March. As we get from stage 1 to stage 6 in the cherry blossom bud to bloom developments, we will keep you posted, because as we get closer, shorter term weather and warm weather bursts can accelerate the cherry blossoms, and conversely, cold weather can also slow down their progression. So we'll be better at predicting the closer we get to the end of March when the exact kind of few days. Typically, we can generally manage 5 days, maybe a week of peak bloom if we're lucky, and winds behave themselves as well. All right, Mary, you're thinking that an early spring is on tap, and I generally think you are correct, and we think Phil, the groundhog, was correct as well. And Manuel, I'm glad you have enjoyed the KH Clouds article. And yes, Rick, I hope we get a little more snow this year. It'd be great for allergy sufferers as well. And Mary, you think you might be wet spring? We might get a wet spring snow. That I can't completely rule that out, as we just discussed. And Michael's like, bring on spring, no more snow. And hey, Paul, you in Purcellville, you haven't taken off the plow off the tractor, so maybe you're going to help us with the reverse jinx mechanism. Maybe we'll still get some more snow out there for you. Manuel, hating the rain, it looks like. Good to see you, though. Thanks for tuning in from Facebook. And averages right now, David, are around the mid-50s for average high temperatures. All right, I think I've caught up there. And great to see all of you on Facebook, X, YouTube. Let me make sure Instagram, we've got John and George. Mandy, thanks for tuning in. And Josh. Let me make sure RP, Call, ML Good. We haven't missed any questions from any of you so far. And Rhoda, good to see you as well on Instagram. All right, I think I've caught up on all your questions. Good to see all of you on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com. On the air, another 3 minutes or so. Let's review our near-term forecast for the DC area. Generally a warm week. As you can see from the warm colors in our temperature animation below, 50s and 60s are the dominating temperature regime this week, which is above average for most, if not all, of this week. We should be in about the mid-50s, approaching the mid-50s for this time of year. Maybe patchy fog tonight, maybe a stray shower tomorrow, but we still generally think one more dry day tomorrow. And then those rain chances, even if they last just a half day, kind of are a little bit pesky for some of your daytime plans. Tuesday through this weekend, and we'll watch each of these storm systems, kind of 3, maybe 4 storm systems through next weekend. It could add up to perhaps 2 to 3 inches of rain. So we'll keep you posted on each storm system's final track as it looks to produce rain through the area. But overall, it is going to be a fairly wet week. We've got multiple chances for rain and clouds as well. Let me show you those. They're going to dominate this week. So please, tomorrow, if you do see those final few rays of sunshine that I expect kind of mid-morning to into midday hours, please get outside and enjoy them because it is going to be in this blue shading. That's kind of overcast skies dominating much, if not all, of this week. All right. Oh, George, that's very kind of you. I appreciate your nice words. Good seeing you. Appreciate you following us at CapitalWeatherGang.com and at Capital Weather on Instagram as well. Cool, and Alice and Christy and Claris, thanks for tuning in on Instagram. And Deidre, I'm glad you are still sticking with us despite not being able to get some March snow out of Capital Weather Gang. We'll keep you posted, of course, as snow chances do slowly dwindle as we get toward the end of March. But fingers crossed, quick hitting burst of cold air and precipitation are possible for snow lovers. Catherine, good seeing you as well. Mike put a snowblower away today there in the valley. Good call, I think. Good call. All right, what else do I have for you? We've got wind tomorrow generally behaving itself. I mentioned maybe a couple afternoon gusts, east or southeast gusts around 20 miles per hour are possible. And looking ahead to next work week, just to give you a medium-term trend idea, temperatures have a good probability of being above average for next work week. Precipitation, it's kind of a coin flip around the immediate DMV, DC area, but especially west of town, there's a slight lean toward above average precipitation. All right, Happy, I'm glad to see you. That's so kind. I'm glad you're following us at Capital Weather on Instagram. That's excellent. All right, pollen is still there, right? It's better than last week. Rain chances this week should ultimately kind of quash it a bit. Maybe we get down toward low pollen levels for the middle and later part of this week. But with the warm air tomorrow and just a stray shower around, I think we could pop up a little bit more in the pollen before we get better in the middle and end of this week. Gardeners, yes, the trees indicate for allergies, the trees are growing as well, but for those more sensitive plants, just be aware we're far from the final freeze and frost for the DC area. So please keep things mobile and nimble, maybe in pots that you can bring inside is kind of what I encourage for March gardeners. And just notice that average season to date snow is 12.2, but average total season is 13.7. So I've been telling snow lovers, on average, we still could maybe experience 1.5 inches of snow before all is said and done at the end of snow season come the end of this month, generally speaking, for accumulating snow anyway. Though, yes, we could see some snowflakes, spitting around in April for sure. That has been happening. Now, plenty of other content as I go off the air now. I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com. That's our blog right here at the Washington Post. You can go directly to all of our content that we have, the March Outlook, the cool clouds, the KH clouds in Maryland. We're covering the wildfire in Texas, the blizzard in California, and the coverage of the tidal basin cherry blossoms coming before the end of March. Likely that we think, the peak blossom before the end of the month. All right. Thank you, Charlie, for tuning in there on Instagram. I appreciate seeing you, and Christina and Rachel. And Jim, you're most welcome on Instagram as well. And Ward, thanks for tuning in there from Culpeper on Facebook. You have a great week as well. And Manuel, yes, that looks like a good movie. And Charlene, see you at 7:10, 1 hour later next Sunday. Thanks for all of you for the reminder about springing forward next Saturday nights. I can't believe it's here. I was in denial. Paul, good seeing you. And David, good seeing you as well. And Manuel, we could have a little bit of rain in the I-95 corridor next weekend indeed. All right, take care, everyone. I'm past my 20-minute allotment, but I'll see you next week for a weekly Sunday sunset chat at 7:10 p.m. after the time change Saturday nights. We spring forward.